Good afternoon, happy Monday. Being someone that lives this far in the Northern Hemisphere, I have to say that this time of year really is the worst.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
And yes, you do get amazing days like I had last week where I went for that beautiful walk in Surrey. But they're very short, even those days, because the sun sets so stupidly early. Like I believe today sunset is about 4:15. But most of the time you get days like this, which is cold, grey and dark, and with a constant threat of rain. And it is so tiresome for the soul. Vitamin D aside, you just feel rubbish. And so what I tend to do is sort of mentally hibernate in January and February. And it's just, you do wonder what's the purpose of them. Or rather, I could understand their purpose if they were slightly warmer and brighter, i.e. if I lived a bit further south. So it's frustrating, and it sort of combined with the fact that we still haven't moved yet, it just feels like, you know, a bit of a burden. And then people are all like, oh yeah, no, back to it, what are you up to, blah blah, and you're just thinking, I'm up to nothing and I don't want to get back to it and I just want to move on. So I'm not feeling great. I think Amelia's coming down with a cold as well, so in about 4 days time I'll feel worse, so there's something to look forward to. But even with all that said, there is something about going for a walk, even in an urban environment, that clears your head, makes you feel better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my very long route to the nursery that takes about an hour and a half and see how I feel in half an hour or so. I was going to mention a huge success yesterday, which was dinner. Food's very important to me, and every now and again I really just crave something very odd. Not things I eat a lot or necessarily ever had before, but just the thought of something is enough to make me want it. And last night we made a parmentier de confit de canard, which is a French dish obviously, which is kind of a duck cottage pie made with pre-cooked confit de canard, which you can buy in a can actually. In fact, in France it's quite common to buy pre-cooked duck, because to do a proper confit takes hours and hours of cooking of a duck, and you don't really necessarily have that time. So you buy the canned stuff, which I did in Waitrose, and you make this cottage pie, and it's called a parmentier because it's named after a French agronomist of years gone by, hundreds of years ago I believe. Anton Augustus, I think his first name was. Anyway, he was a massive promoter of the idea that people should eat more potatoes in France. And that sounds really silly, but he was. And so basically a lot of dishes in France that are potato heavy, like this one because it's topped with mashed potato, are named after him, which must be a strange accolade. But anyway, it's really good if you fancy making something like that, or it sounds vaguely tasty. If you Google in English like a duck cottage pie, you should be able to find something that is similar, and it's delicious, and we got more tonight. Check that out. There's just one little bit of sky where the clouds are broken up enough and you're just getting the tiniest bit of sunset through them. That's really nice. It doesn't really come out that well here. You can't see there you go, the detail. But yeah, it's really funny. That's nice. I needed to see that. That's made me feel better. Very simple. Nature is quite powerful though. Doesn't come out quite so well here, but that little bit of red has now spurred lots of little bits of red all over the sky. Very nice. I'm reasonably now hopeful about tomorrow's weather based on old wives' tales. Good morning from a very wintry Kew Gardens. house sale is still ongoing, and it's still giving me repeated headaches and filling me with anxiety and anger. It's very frustrating when there's something that you haven't got full control of, and there's legal things that need to happen that you can't do, and you're waiting on other people to do them, and it's infuriating. And that's me being very polite, because my honest feeling right now is I would like to march up to the offices of our solicitors, pull the paperwork out, and damn well do it myself, but I can't. So I've come for a walk instead, and it does look nice today, and I'm hoping this eases my frustrations somewhat. Welcome to one of the quietest places ever. This is the edge of Ranmore Common. Now, I thought I'd come for a walk because house selling is getting me down, and we've hit yet another roadblock, which I thought was impossible at this point, but anyway, so I thought, the weather's quite nice. It was really foggy this morning. Let's go for a walk. This always helps. So here we are. We're going to walk along the edge of Ranmore Common down towards Denby's, and then we're going to come back on the ridge where we can see the view south. So this is Denby's farm at the top of the hill, as far as I'm going today, to the sheep. Those are Fort Cottages, I think they're called. Anyway, the vineyard, Denby's vineyard, is literally just beyond this lip in the hill. So it just goes straight down to the vines. I'm not going to go down there because then I have to climb back up. So I thought I'd come and sit here and have my lunch, and it's very peaceful. You can see Box Hill, just there, behind that big tree. It's the edge of the Surrey Hills, and it drops down to the plains beyond. So we're approaching what is a formal viewpoint. It's one of the most spectacular views you'll really see in Surrey. Now, there's different places along this ridge where you can get this view. So this is about as far east as you can go. This Box Hill is slightly further round. You can that's Dorking, the edge of Dorking there. The problem with being the top of Box Hill is you might see Dorking. Nothing against it, but it's not something you really come to look at for a view. And then next over you've got Leith Hill, and then you've got Holmbury Hill, where I went up quite a few months ago now. But all along this ridge you get this remarkable vista. So I've come along a bit further. That's Westcott, which is the first town out of Dorking. Maybe it's a village technically. And then over here, I don't know if you can see where the smoke is rising from. That is Wootton, where the Wootton Hatch is, which is probably my favourite pub. I'm trying to see the church. That would give me some bearings. Yeah, it's probably further up the hillside than that then, because I can't see the church, but it's in that direction anyway. Actually, I think I can see the church. It's there, which means the Wootton Hatch is in that little valley gap. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's very hard to see in this light. It's that way.